School is the most important thing in your life. And while I hate school, I got a PhD. And I hate school. I hate everything about it. So somebody say, E, if you hate school so much, why you get a PhD? Because I hate school, but I love options. You can have average skill, but you can't have average will. You can't have average will. Like your will has to be phenomenal. You have to see basketball as the gateway. It's like a passport. Basketball is just your way to get in, and then once you get in, boom, then you dominate. So I'm telling you, you're not taking a test because they're giving you the test. You're taking a test that's about to change your life, your mama's life. And I know if you take the test serious, you'll kill it. When you go through your go-through, your siblings are watching you. When you go through your go-through, your friends are watching you. When you go through your go-through, your parents are watching you. And people will use your strength to get through their stuff.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy E.T., man. Super excited to be with you guys today. You know what we're here to do. We're here to inspire, right? We're here to educate, and we're here to get your back. You know, I was looking at the article, and, you know, one of the things that frightened me is that it said pretty much almost 50% of teachers, you know, are just thinking about throwing in the towel. You know, it's like almost half. You know, I was like, wow, this is deep, you know. Man, and then it said 30-something%, maybe 38, just want to leave the profession altogether. I was like, wow, that's a big number, you know. And the article was just saying, you know, for those of you who read it, the type of hit that the country would take, you know. And I don't know what that looks like, but I do know with COVID, you know, the type of hit we've taken with COVID. And we still don't know, you know, the effects that it's going to have long term. Like, we only know how it's impacting us now. And I don't you know, mean to you know, downplay the effects or, you know, seem like I'm joking, but I was at Zara's as I mentioned, and literally it was an hour. Okay, I don't know how long the wait was. I just know I talked to a gentleman who wasn't even halfway there, and he said he had been waiting for 40 minutes. And I'm like, wow, Zara's? Like, this is a clothing store. You've been waiting for 40 minutes, and you still might have 20, 30 minutes left to go. And it just showed me, like, wow, the impact of COVID. It's like nobody was on the registers downstairs. You know, upstairs was only 2 people on a register that could probably hold 4. You know, and it hit me, you know, people are at home sick, you know, and we just don't have a lot of, like, wherever you've gone, it's like little stuff that I used to buy that they don't have anymore. You know, it's like I'll go to the store and they're like, nope, we don't carry that. I'm like, y'all don't carry that? This Home Depot. Like, y'all don't got the little sockets for the 120, you know? And they're like, nope, we only carry now what is considered to be a necessity. You know, what people are buying regularly. And I'm like, I thought that was a necessity. And it's like, okay, maybe 3 years ago it was. It's not now. And so I'm seeing, you know, my mail's taking longer. You know, it's just, you know, it's unbelievable. But when I was reading the article, I was thinking, we probably won't even know the impacts of teachers leaving or, you know, schools going virtual, or, you know, we just probably won't even know it for 5, 10, whatever years. And so I really want to encourage my teachers who are listening. I'm not putting everything on your shoulder. Like, I'm not suggesting that, you know, you don't do self-care. We talked about that. But I would like us to think about the role we play as educators. And if we abandon, you know, ship, you know, if we don't finish the mission, the impact that can have, you know, on America as we know it. And I think a lot of times we feel like, you know, this America is America, but it's not. Like, America is not America just because we sing the national anthem. Like, it's not America because we wave the red flag. Like, it's literally America because of the decisions we make every day. And education is a critical part. Educating your citizens, educating your community, equipping your, like, that is a large part of why we are so successful. And if 48% of teachers want to leave, man, what is that saying? And if 38 just want to leave the profession altogether, like where are we? And I really want, if you're a teacher or in the educational space in any way, I really want you to think about that. And I want you to think about what can you do to stay the course. So with all that being said, Katie, what are we talking about today? I just, you know what I'm saying? I felt like a talk show host. You know, that the monologue in the beginning, they get their stuff in. I felt like it. I really wanted to just encourage, teachers to say, hey, man, we got to stick in there and we're going to get past this. We're going to get beyond this, but we definitely aren't going to get beyond it or past it at 50%, almost 50%. I think it was 48 or something like that. Yeah. If that number leaves, again, that's almost 50%. If you actually leave, man, the terrain is going to be totally different, if you walk away. So let's stick together. Let's figure out how we can get through this.
So, don't forget to tell them how they can send us an email or how they can talk to us and why we're here.
Yes, of course. As I always say, we do have your back. And by that, I just mean, there's a way for you to reach out to us. Again, I don't ever remember what that is. So, Valeria, if you don't mind telling us what that is.
I love it. It's info@extremeteachers.com. We are getting your letters. We are getting your questions. And we're also getting your nominations for spotlighting teachers. We're getting it. Yes, we hear you. We hear you. Are we going to do the announcement today, E, or are we going to wait?
Our prizes that we've got for the teachers?
We're going to have to do it. We're going to have to do it.
Too.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do it. So I closer to the end of the show, either myself or Coach B will make sure we do it.
Okay. Yes. Let's get it. So you can contact us at info@extremeteachers.com. info@extremeteachers.com. All right, Katie, back to you in the studio.
Hey, well, we already had a good intro. We jumped right in. I liked it. So the article that he's referencing, we talked a little bit about it in our last episode. It's called Why Education is About to Reach a Crisis of Epic Proportions. And it's a Forbes article by Mark C. Perna. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. But we've just been deep diving that and kind of pulling it apart and want to acknowledge the crisis that is happening in education. So as teachers, we always want to encourage you, but when you're listening, we want you to know that we understand that there's a crisis happening and that we're with you and we see you and we're hearing you. But we also want to bring the hope. So we want to talk about solutions and how do we move forward in the crisis too. So that's where we're going to focus today. And specifically, we're going to pull out a little bit of that article that talked about education's future and what that might look like for our students. And will it look the same as it has in the past, or will it maybe look a little bit different? And so I think, it could be some really good, interesting conversations for sure.
Good. So, I generally start off, but if there's somebody that, there's something in that article or what Katie just said that really spoke to you, if you want to, elaborate on that. And then, of course, guys, at some point, it may be this episode, it may not be, but one of the things that really hit me when I was reading it is college played out? And we'll get to that in a minute. Is college played out? Or with what's going on, with COVID and everything else, is it pushing us in a different direction? I think I want to add that too, and maybe we can address that when we talk about being creative, and we talk about, understanding that under these circumstances, if there's one thing the article said that I thought was deep, I always felt education needed to be more human. I always felt that way, right? But I felt like COVID is really making demands on that, with the virtual pieces, with the mask, and I said this before, guys, and I'll say it every episode if I have to. I kind of feel like with the mask ministry, my superpower, one of my superpowers is being attacked. I really do, because I'm known for that infectious smile. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my thing right there. Like, that's always been my go-to is when you walk in the building, like, you about to get that smile from me. You know, you bought, and with the energy, the smile ministry with the energy, it just kind of go together. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't really get the full energy if you're not getting the facial expressions, if you're not getting the body language, if you're not getting so it's almost like, you know, when you look at this animated stuff online and it's like no face, like a robot boy. So now we're almost robotic as teachers because, you know, if we're in person, you can't see my face, you know, and so to me, that's huge because that allows kids to understand, like, I care. So, you know, again, Katie likes to make sure we make the connections. So I just want to make a connection that, you know, my emotional energy, right, is a part of educating. Like, it's a piece of it. You know, when children know that they're welcome, and that's what my smile does. My smile lets you know, like, yo, you welcome. Like, I want you here. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be here. I want you to be here. And I think that's important. While again, at the end of the day, it is about, you know, making sure that kids' IQ is developed, but also that their EQ is developed, because the EQ is a part of their IQ. You know what I'm saying? Like, it goes together. So just want to make a point. Like, so when I'm letting you know, I want to be here, my energy is showing you I want to be here. I don't know if you've ever been teachers. I don't know if you've ever gone into an environment where people make you feel like they don't want you there. Like, I don't know if you ever felt that way before. It's not a good feeling. I've been there. I never forget. I went to a dealership when I bought, you know, Didi her first, you know, like whatever kind of car you wanted. The first one was used, you know what I'm saying? Well, you know, whatever. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, I went to the BMW dealership and I was in there for about 5 or 10 minutes and nobody came, you know, and I just remember walking out, you know, and I was like a funny feeling because I had money, you know, I had money for the vehicle, you know, I wanted to pay for, you know, even though I didn't get the newer model, you know, I had the money for that model in cash, you know, and nobody ever came and helped me. And I remember being in there for about 5 or 10 and somebody finally walked over and I just walked out, you know, and I was an adult. I was an educator. Like, I taught. I was at Michigan State University. You know, I was a pastor. You know, like, I was an adult and I felt some type of way about being in an environment where it appeared that they didn't want me there. They didn't value me. They didn't want my money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I noticed to be true because I saw other people who came in and I saw how they rushed to those people, you know? And so as an adult, I felt some type of way. As a grown man, married with kids, I felt some type of way about being in an environment where I'm not wanted, right? Being in a public environment where I'm supposedly welcome, but by the people in that environment, I'm not wanted. Now, I'm sure if the CEO knew what was going on, you know what I'm saying, it would have been different, whoever the owner was, right? So I want you to know it hurts when you're in a place and it doesn't feel like you're wanted. Whether you're an adult or a child, it's probably worse when you're a child, right? So one of the things I try to do is I try to make you feel welcome. I try to make you feel that I'm personally welcoming you, right? And I try to make you feel like, yo, I want to be here and I don't want to be anywhere else right now. And I think as teachers, you know, that's important. Like, I tell people all the time, I'm in demand. You feel me? Like, I'm in demand. And so when I show up to your school, I don't even have to be here. So I need you to know I made a choice to be here. I want to be here. I'm happy to be here. And I don't want to be anywhere else. My wife got on me the other day. She's like, I called you and you didn't answer. And I was like, I was, you know, doing this podcast and I cut my phone off when I'm doing the podcast. And I forgot to turn it back on when you know what I'm saying? But when I'm doing a podcast, like, I'm there. I don't want anybody calling me. I don't want to be interrupted. I don't want to hear the ding. I don't want to hear and as teachers, they need to know that your phone is turned off, your ringer. And I'm not even talking like literal. This is literal and figurative. You know, people need to know that you are present, that not only are you present, but you are present, meaning your presence is in the place for the hour, for the 45 minutes. And I used to hate my students who packed up 5 minutes before the end of class. I'm like, come on, don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. We got enough. We got a full 45. Like, don't pack up on me in 40. Just give me the 45. That last 5 is going to be deep. Who cuts the game off with the last 5 minutes of the game? You know, who cuts the basketball game out with 5 minutes left, the football game? Nobody does. We go into overtime if we have to. So, so for me, that's my piece. When we talk, problems, I just feel this way, Katie. When we talk problems, I think one of the ways to solve a problem is to just let people know that you really do love them, you really do care, you really do you value them, you want them. And I hate to say this because I know we're already taxed. So I'm not talking time, but I am talking increased energy. So when I'm having a challenge with my children, my church, with my company, I just feel like that's the time for them to know without a shadow of a doubt, to put forth more energy to say, I love you, I care about you, I value this relationship, and I want to see all the good that could possibly come out of it. Let me stop. I read the article a few times and just got, it touched me in a couple different ways. So let me get out the way. Who's got next?
I love it. Wow. There were a lot of good things there that we could all piggyback on. I love when you were just talking about bringing energy and being intentional about doing that. It's hard to do sometimes. And you said it, like, teachers are taxed and parents right now are taxed, right? So it's like, you have to really be intentional about that. And it's hard. And it's hard for all of us too. So we're like preaching to ourselves, and we're saying these things. I will admit that I write down like my goals for the day every morning and my schedule and what I want to accomplish. And yesterday I wrote down my goal for the day was to make sure when I was done working, I had a lot of energy left for my family. Because I felt like the day before I hadn't done a good job of that. Like, I was focused on getting a bunch of stuff done and I was just tired at the end of the day. And, when you walk into your family like that, then, it's not fabulous, right? So that was simply my goal yesterday. And then it happened because I had to be really intentional about it. And so teachers, we love you and we know you're capable of doing that same thing. And we're seeing it too. I'll tell you right now, my son's kindergarten teacher is like, I have no idea where she comes up with that energy. She is just fabulous, like so much energy all the time. And that's why he loves school so much. So those of you that are doing that already, even among, amidst the most challenging times probably education has ever faced, you're bringing the energy, and that is helping your kids and parents that you work with to feel loved. And so keep going, because that is, so important. I loved that point.
Yeah. I believe one of the reasons that Norm went to the bar on Cheers so much is because when he walked in, like, they gave him that love.
Yeah.
They gave him that.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, I make amazing, like, nicknames for my students, like Queen. I'll either call them Queen, King, Sir. Yes. And I don't know if I shared the story before about my mom. My mom taught second grade. But one of the amazing things she did on the first day of school, she said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the next day they came to school, I usually have them, Brendan, I don't know where it is, but she had sentence strips on their desk saying Attorney Eric or Preacher Reverend Von Dale or whatever. And she would speak life into them in second grade. Like, and she treated them like that. That's what it was. So she would, and then the guy that wanted to preach, he could do the morning announcements. He acted up. Then you had the cleric. She took him to church, she took him to the office, the business room, the boardroom, whatever room they said they wanted to be in when they grew up. She spoke it into them. So it began to drive them. And then I came to her classroom, second grade. I came to her classroom one day, normal. One kid had a suit on. And I was like, why does he have a suit on? She said, oh, that's Reverend Jackson. I said, no. He wore suits every single day in second grade because she spoke that into him and she recognized his dream. And it blew my mind. When I tell y'all these kids wanted to come to school, they wanted to come to school because she had an environment that spoke into them, that pulled out what was in them and what they thought they wanted to be. And guess what? If you wanted to be a butterfly, you could be a butterfly.
Amen.
She didn't step on their dreams. She encouraged them until they got to the point. Was like, well, I can't be a butterfly. You're right, but you can be whatever you want to be. Like what that did, what I saw that do was not limit their dream. Because if you say, if I say I dream to be a butterfly, and you go, you can't be a butterfly. You almost make me think like I can't believe in what I'm thinking I can be. And that can transfer into I can't be the attorney that I think I want to be because nobody else believes it. So it's like almost I believe I can fly. Like let's go. Sing along with me and look up because I'm coming. Like figure it out, but buy into my dreams. And I think we stop giving the kids permission to dream. They need to have permission to dream, and they need to have permission to make mistakes because everyone makes mistakes. So when they come in your classroom, bring it on in. But one of the things I noticed this year in the in schools is that so if you're teaching at the 10th grade level, you're literally getting a kid who has not had the opportunity to mature through the 9th grade. So it's been a little bit. So you're getting an 8th grader or you're getting a kid from 2 years ago in the classroom. So they're missing a lot. So I understand the taxing because if I've been teaching 10th grade for a couple of years, now I'm getting a slew of kids that are immature. They're not on grade level. It's just a lot. All right, I know y'all hear my mic echoing, so I'm gonna just come down a little bit because I want y'all to get in here. Come on, Sam look like she's trying to play double dutch. She got something to say. Come on, baby.
No, I'm just listening, taking all the greatness in. But there was a tweet going around yesterday or Instagram post said like, teachers, I see you, I'm rooting for you. Your best is enough. And that just like, I was like, repost, like that is just like right now, like we're rooting for you. We see you, all the hard things that you're dealing with, and your best is enough and showing up every day and giving what you got. So that's just been on my mind. Just trying to connect with a lot of teachers, show love on them, support they need right now. So yeah,
they need support, Sam. They definitely do. I think that's I think what she said was just critical. It's like, guys, grab your cell phone, and if you know a teacher or an administrator, or a staff member at a school or online, it doesn't matter. Yo, text them, man. If you want to text them a scripture to encourage them, a quote, what I'm saying, a poem. Whatever. Hey, if you want to get a $20 gift certificate from Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, and send it to them electronically, digitally. Like somebody sent me a $30 Chipotle gift card the other day, and I'm talking about, I was lit. I was lit. I was lit. And I've been blessed financially, but I was lit. I was like, somebody, and they DM'd it to me in Instagram, and they were like, yo, bro, I can't thank you enough for these daily videos, and I can't pay you. Like, I can't afford it. But, here go a Chipotle boy. I'm like, oh, let's go. Like, let's go. And then it was, I don't know if it was Christmas or something, but somebody that knows my son, was like, yo, what can we get for your father? It's like, it just seems like, I don't know what he can. My son was like, don't complicate it. Just get him a gift certificate at Chipotle. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't complicate it. So sometimes I think we think, oh man, we got to do this big stuff. No, if you just encourage them once a week or sent them a gift card or whatever, I promise you, my bad. Vondell, get in here, man. I'm sorry. I'm excited, bro. I'm excited.
Sorry, real quick, Vondell. I did that yesterday, just sent, so there's like digital $5 gift cards for Starbucks, like just to get a coffee. So I did that yesterday, and the school leader was like, thank you so much for thinking of me. Like you said, it's like the thought. And so I'm like committing like every couple of weeks or whatnot, just, every week, just try to shoot that out and let people know.
No, This is on point. Going back to something you said a little bit earlier, how sometimes when we're teaching, because we're wearing masks, it's covering up the energy that we bring through our facial expressions. So kids who maybe have a hearing problem or can't see well that's sitting in the back, they're even further disengaged from the educational process. So we have to use a lot of hand motions now. We have to have a high level of energy. And this is the thing from the article. We are in a crisis, but remember, in a crisis, there's opportunity. And I think with the opportunity, we want to be innovative. We want to begin to create new ideas and new methods on how we re-engage, because again, this is an opportunity. We are in the middle of a crisis. But to me, educators are the greatest actors, greatest communicators, right? Greatest teachers of teachers. And just remember, we still have a future locked inside of us. So whatever we have to do, and Katie said it earlier, we have to have enough energy for our family, the things that bring us energy, so we can bring energy to the young people that are standing in front of us. And I think that's critically important. My son and my daughter don't know that today we're going to surprise them. We're going to take them to Gurney because my son's birthday is coming up this weekend. He's 7 and 8. He said, I want to go to the water park. I'm like, we're not going to no water park, not in Chicago, not during this time. In the summertime, we can go to the water park. But my wife said, no. There's an indoor water park we can take them to. And so right after school today, we're going to pick them up and take them there. And I'm going to just have joy in getting filled up watching them have joy. And so that's the thing that I need for next week, Monday. So whatever it is, find that ability to pour into yourself so you can give back out. With crisis, there's an opportunity.
I love it. Yeah, it's so good. I think, a part of this article, I want to read like a little snippet of it that we keep talking about is how do we innovate what we're doing, right? Change a little bit of what we're doing. And part of that is recognizing where students are and maybe adjusting our expectations a little bit. And Val, you really hit on that when you said, like, we're used to having 10th graders come in our room and maybe they haven't been in school since they were in 8th grade. I mean, that's crazy. We have to remember that. We cannot just do the same thing that we've always done before. And as admin and community members, we can't expect teachers to do that either. We have to support them. So I just want to read this one little part where it says, don't expect teachers to catch students up. The COVID learning slide is a real and serious problem, but somehow there's been an expectation that just returning to in-person learning would magically solve all of it and bring students right back to where their appropriate mastery levels were. And this puts incredible and even impossible pressure on teachers who are already overburdened with ever-changing policies and demands. And as a nation, we need to be realistic about where students are really at and then meet them where they are. And so I think that's important for us to think about as we're supporting teachers and students and all the things that we have to make sure that we're remembering they're maybe in a different place, and then we have to support them in moving forward. And that could maybe play into some really interesting things that you were talking about in terms of college and education and what that looks like for the future, because it might look different than what it has looked like in the past, right?
We'll talk about that next week. I'm going to make a quick statement that I want us to kind of, as we always, end out with what is something today that we think teachers can do, educators can do to not only make themselves better, but make the classroom better. And I'll give something that I've been doing lately. And it may seem very small, but I'm actually thinking more than I've ever thought before as an educator, and by thinking, I mean, really sitting down and preparing, and I think I've been educating for so long that there's certain, patterns that I've noticed. There's certain cues that I pick up on, but things have changed, and I think we need to, because we can't do the face-to-face like we used to, there are other tools that we can use. For one, there are videos that we can use, movies that we can use, things that, I find it funny when you say Christmas, and please forgive me, guys, I've not watched There was a season in my life where I just wasn't really watching TV. And so I didn't catch the Home Alone boy. But my son is like a Home Alone freak. My daughter, like, you know, so when Christmas comes around, I just noticed there are a lot of people talking about, you know, Home Alone. And there's an energy that comes with the Home Alone boy. Like, it's a whole energy. Actually, you know, if you want to be honest, it's like Star Trek and Star Wars. Like, there's a community that watch Star Wars and Star Trek. Like, it's a whole community. It's like conferences, you know, retreats. Like, it's a big thing, right? And so one of the things that I've been trying to do as an educator is make sure you're using information, you know, that is already like known to teach now. So like, don't just try to do like, you know, like back in the day, I remember I would try to surprise and, you know, like, you know, show stuff that nobody's ever seen and try to make a point. Now I'm like, no. People are already stressed out. Like, use Home Alone. There are a lot of references. There are a lot of, you know, there's a lot of context, you know, in the movie. Use that, you know, use Star Wars. Like, Star Wars is something in America that's like universal. Like, you know, you know, the force is strong with you, Luke. You know what I'm saying? So I've been really saying, okay, there are multiple learning styles. There are multiple teaching styles. There are multiple commercials. You know, I laugh when, you know, Kevin Hart had this thing, you know, where he was like, you know, the way my bank account is set up, you know, and it was like, you would hear everybody saying it, or you know, the song that came out, I'm living my best life, you know, and you would hear people talking about, I'm living my best life. I'm like, Eric, there are cues and music and songs when Valari said, I believe I could fly. Valari, I can't tell you how many times I heard that song, how many times kids use it in church, how many times I saw it in high school graduations, you know, and so they're just things that people are already connected to. They already know, that already makes sense. And I'm like, Eric, when you teach now, make sure you're using those things. And so I don't know if you guys have paid attention to like our, you know, everyday videos that come out, but we're using something that may have happened in basketball that went viral already. Why? Because it's like people already know it. It's not difficult. It's not hard. So for my educators that are out there, like I've really spent way more time thinking through who's in my classroom. What is the learning style of my classroom? What do they like? What don't they like? What are they already familiar with? And the final piece for me, I'm using a lot of TikTok stuff for them. It's there, you know, and it's not like TikTok is just one dimensional. TikTok is like a library, if you will, of content. And so there are things that I can take from TikTok and put up when I'm presenting that will make a student go, oh, I got that. And not only that, I feel comfortable. That's TikTok. I know TikTok. I use TikTok. I'm on TikTok, you know, and it's like, oh, stop though. And to Valari's point with the 10th grade teacher, Eric, what worked last year, some of the stuff can work. Everything is not going to work about it, but start all over again. Like Eric, become fresh. Become innovative. Like, you have what it takes, Eric. You have what it takes to put more out, to do more. And again, when you prepare, I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do. But sometimes when you use your energy to think things through, to like almost become a detective. I'm going with my grandma, Perry Mason, you know, Columbo. I'm going with my grandma. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the heat of the night, you know what I'm saying? Oh, my grandma raised me on all this stuff. When you become a detective and you start looking at your classroom like a detective, when you start looking at your classroom, you know, to see what the problem is and not to be negative, but to come up with a solution, man, you'll be surprised. You have to actually do less work, because when you think it through and you're able to strategize and make some things happen, it's just so, for you, it's energizing, it's fun. And then when you give it to your students, that same energy you have, that same joy you have is going to transfer over to them. So definitely rough times, but man, I promise y'all, I got up this morning at 4 and was just thinking, and not just thinking for my students, but thinking for my marriage, thinking for my son, thinking for my daughter, thinking for ETA, thinking for my church. It's like, yo, these are different times, and I can't be the dude I was 5 years ago if we're going to be successful. I just can't. Do I want to be that dude? Absolutely, because you can just get up and push a button. Like, I know that guy. I had ET on cruise control. I was having a lot of success, in Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. I was successful, but I start to see like the decline in the numbers. And it wasn't a thing of, all right, we just gonna quit, we gonna give up. It was like, guys, what can we do differently? What can we do to not just survive, not just strive, but what can we do to thrive? And a big part of that for me every day is just getting up and analyzing my world and not asking anybody else to change, because that drains my energy. It's what can you do, E? Something small, nothing deep. But what can you do? And for me, a big piece has been getting up and evaluating, doing the SWOT analysis on everything I love, everything that's important to me, and saying, what are the strengths here? What are the weaknesses here? What are the opportunities? There are opportunities here. What are the threats? And taking all of that information and using it to make some adjustments to bring about a level of thriving that doesn't currently exist. So, all right, I'm out the way. Sam, we'll start with you. Let's go around, as always, give us one thing that, that a bite-sized solution that they can take, and use today.
I love that. So I would say for teachers, find something on a weekly basis that gives you energy and excitement that's in common with the students. So between you and your students, what is one thing every week, maybe it's every day, that brings energy and excitement, whether it's making a TikTok video together at the end of the week, right? Whether it's finding a school community project, and giving in the school community, because we know that offers fulfillment, whether it's starting something innovative, but find something that provides energy and excitement for you and your students.
Love it. Talk to me, Villari. Talk to me. A bite-sized solution.
All right, this gonna sound out of the box. Y'all ready? Have your kids create you a playlist of the music they listen to, so you can hear what they're hearing. And then you can, because if you're going, I don't know what they saying, I don't know, you don't understand the assignment. So what you got to do is listen to what they're listening to. And then guess what? Even the kids that listen to stuff that no one else listens to, you'll have something from that kid. You'll have a connection with that kid, and you just move from there. And it's like, boom, just that quick. You got a connection, and take a weekend and just put it on and play. And sometimes you might go, whoa, but now you know.
Love it.
And then when you tell them that you did that too, they are just so filled with appreciation and joy that, like, especially if it's something that they know you wouldn't have listened to, right? I've done that before. And then when I tell them, they're like, you listened to that? I'm like, well, you told me it's your favorite. So I did, And so they just feel special. They feel like you want to know them is the whole point.
They feel special. Yeah.
I love that.
Special. Yeah.
I would just say do something that brings the joy back to teaching and learning, right? So we want to, in stressful times for everyone, reintroduce joy into your classroom if it's not feeling to you like it's there, or feeling to your kids like it's there. And whether that's something simple, like for me as a reading teacher, I would always be making sure that there was time for choice reading, and that kids were reading something that brought them joy, even if you don't think it's the most fabulous text in the world, but making sure that they have time to read something that brings them joy, and make time for that, which means you might have to put that first before all the other lessons that are coming. But I promise you that when we make time for that piece first, even if it's school related, right? They're reading something, but it's something they choose that will bring them a little bit of joy. Then when you get to this other rigorous material that you're creating, they're going to access that so much better, because they've felt like they matter and what interests them matter, and that they've had a little bit of joy in learning first. So let's bring back the joy to our classrooms and prioritize some choice reading for my reading people out there. Let our kids choose what they want to read for a little bit at least.
Choice reading. Come on, Katie. I love it.
Yes.
Talk to me.
The thing that I want to add to this conversation, this has been phenomenal. I love the have your kids make the playlist. My kids will love to see me dance around this house. But just remember your why. Remember why you're doing what you're doing. You know, whether that's at the beginning of the day, the middle of the day, at the end of the day, use that time to reflect on your why. And don't be moved by what you see, by what you hear. Stay locked in and remember that why.
Valari, I'm going to go to what you said and just add, my perspective to it. So you talked about, their playlist, value what others value, value what others value.
Yes.
Like, don't be the person, don't be the educator that only values what you think is important. Value what they value. I'll give you guys a quick story. And man, it took me all these years, to get here. But yesterday, I was like, yo, E, make cleaning the grout date night. You know what I'm saying? Like, make cleaning the grout date night. All right. So what do I mean by that? So in our master bathroom, unfortunately, I see it as unfortunate. It's a white base marble and it's got white grout in it, right? And my wife is OCD, pretty much. Like whatever OCD is, she like right under it. So it's not detected, but it's there though. It's there. It's not detected, right? So she's like, we need to start cleaning the grout so that we don't mess up, the value of the house. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm not trying to be funny, but I finally got to a place financially that I'm sure there's a grout cleaning company. I'm sure they could come out weekly and do it. But, what I discovered was like, yo, she really gets a kick out of cleaning. I'm like, cleaning literally energizes her. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I wouldn't believe that that's possible. You know what I'm saying? But like, she'll be in a bathroom and literally, like, we have guests and they'll leave. And some of the guests will clean the bathroom. She'll still be in there for 2 hours. I'm like, yo, what are you doing for 2 hours? Like, that don't even make, like, it's a bathroom. But yesterday, I value what she values. It was like, yo, I'll be in here as long as it takes. Because, I'm just be real. When you don't value something, you got a short temper. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm rushing. I'm going in there rushing. Like, I'm not really going in there I'm just like, let's check off the box. Like, whatever we got. And so I started cleaning the bathroom before her. And I was like, wow, we got a lot of cabinets in the bathroom. I never thought to wash the cabinets. You know what I'm saying? I'm just washing the sink, the top of that's it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to wash the side. And I literally enjoyed it. And, she came and was like, you did a good job. But Val blew my mind. She opened the drawers to the cabinets and cleaned the top of the drawer.
Stop.
I was like, whoa, I didn't even know that was there. You feel like I didn't even know that was a possibility.
I gotta go, y'all. I gotta go. I gotta go check my drawers. What?
But you know what? When she opened the drawers, I did see dirt. I did see where, like, when you open it, maybe if you shaving or something, whatever, like you might put your hands on it when you open it. So it was, a couple of them had some stuff. So she's boom, and then did the sides. And I was like, wow. So I started, of course, after I saw her do it once, I started doing it. But I literally was like, as humans, when you think about the best relationships you have, it's the ones where people value what you value. It's the ones where people value what the ones that are most stressful are the ones where it's like, it's the values don't align. And so as educators, we're not in the classroom by ourselves. You're not. And I know you want to believe you are, but you're in the room with 15, 20, 25, 30 other people who have values. And to bring energy to that room and to make that room come alive, I'll just be honest with y'all. My wife had a different energy when I was willing to clean, the bathroom versus me doing a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think talking probably aggravates her. Like, you talk too much. That might aggravate her, right? But the cleaning, she like, this is going to be a phenomenal day. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because I value something that she values. So go in the classroom and value what they value. Now, Val told me to make the announcement. Katie said, make the big announcement. Well, look, guys, and maybe you don't value it, but I value it. I don't even know the name of the resort in Mexico. How do you say it? Anybody know how to say it? I don't know how to say it. You know how to say it? Okay, I don't know.
It's all right. Have to look it up.
I don't know how to say it, even if I look it up. All right.
It's correct.
It's correct. Listen to me.
Correct.
I've been all over the world other than Dubai. You know, there's not a place that I enjoy as much. It's one of the few resorts that the resort is beautiful.
Beautiful.
You know, but there are a lot of resorts that are beautiful, but it's beautiful. But to me, it is the excursions that are right there on the property, right? So you don't have to go nowhere. You get on a little bus. There are about 3 or 4 different excursions you can do. Water. It's fun. The best food I've ever had. A lot of times when you do excursions, after about 3 days, you feel like you eating the same thing. It's like, I didn't have this before, you know what I'm saying? Like, but you can get something new there every day. The room service is unbelievable. It's just a phenomenal place. So we're going to send 2 teachers. Well, I shouldn't say send. You coming with me, all right? I'm gonna be there. You coming with me, right?
Let's go.
Yeah, we're gonna give you guys 2 free trips. A lot of you guys have been calling in or emailing or whatever, letting us know. You know, teacher of the month, people teachers who you value. Please get it in. Only 2 will win, but they're gonna be able to come to us, all expenses paid. You know, it's gonna be phenomenal. So. With that being said, Coach B, back to you.
Sam, can you nominate me? That's all I'm gonna ask.
I got you, Val. I got you.
All right, dude, let's go.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the principal's office, where we go back and review and recap some of the most impactful points from today's broadcast. And today, we've probably got one of the most important and impactful topics that we've ever discussed on the podcast. It's how do we solve the crisis of education that is currently happening? So we've got a ton of content to cover. Let's jump right into it. Number 1, welcome and wanted. ET said that if people don't feel like you are present, if they don't feel like they are wanted, if they don't feel like they are welcomed in that environment, then they're going to lack engagement every single time. And so making sure that people feel valued is how we turn this crisis of education around. And it doesn't mean that we have to spend more time or break our backs to make it happen. It just means intentional energy. Your energy is going to be used every single day, no matter what. The thing that we have to do is get intentional about how we direct that energy. So make your students feel valued, and school will never go out of style in their minds. Number 2, grab the low-hanging fruit. Yep, I know. You're used to people saying, don't go for the low-hanging fruit. Don't listen to that. Go for the low-hanging fruit. ET said, look, it doesn't take anything extravagant. It doesn't take anything extra. Sometimes all you need is a little Chipotle gift card, right? So for your classroom, what is your Chipotle gift card? What's your simple thing that can elevate somebody's experience just because it makes them feel like you care? Something that's worth thinking about. Last but not least, number 3 is bridge the gaps. See, there are different learning styles, there's different teaching styles, there's different communication and behavior styles, but there are universal connections that almost all people have that we can leverage to get through to people. Movies, shows, social media videos, pop culture events, songs. There's a million different things that you can do. But what worked last year might not work this year. That's the nature of it. These cultural connections that we can use to teach, they change minute by minute. So it's our responsibility to think and plan and prepare so that we can make our classroom experience the absolute best that it can be. Now, remember, if you're interested in a professional development session from the Extreme Teachers team, we need you to email us at info@extremeteachers.com. And of course, check out the website, www.extremeteachers.com. There you can find more information about becoming a certified Extreme Teacher and all the other products and services that we offer, including that DISC assessment. And of course, don't forget to use the link in the description below to nominate a teacher to be spotlighted on the podcast. And this week's nomination came out of a place called Laurel, Maryland, and it was for Mr. Willie Johnson. Here's what it said. So for over 40 years, him and his family have been teaching martial arts underprivileged youth around the world. Being born and raised in the city of Baltimore and breaking the cycle, they continue to teach even when all schools and sports programs were closed. In fact, they were one of the only schools that continue to empower youth through virtual teaching And they even completed a movie that's scheduled to be released soon called 1 out of 100. The movie was shot during the pandemic. Super, super cool story. So Mr. Willie Johnson, thank you so much for everything that you are doing. The Extreme Teachers family recognizes you and appreciates all that you are doing. Now, as we close, I just want to remind you that you're better than you think you are. And you might be underestimating yourself, but you might never know that unless you're open to feedback, right? So I had a speaking gig last week with a D1 college cheerleading team. And at the end, I had this big close where everybody stood up and we did a chant together and we were all yelling and the energy was really high. Now, for me, it's not really my thing. It's not really my natural personality. Like when ET speaks, you get all the energy all day long. When I speak, it's a little bit of a different feel. It's a little bit more relaxed. So I felt the most awkward during that particular part of my presentation. I was like, I don't really know if that hit. I don't know if that one really connected. I felt kind of weird about it. A couple of days went by and I happened to be talking to some of the same people who were there. And you know what? The one moment in the entire presentation out of all of it that they all said that they absolutely loved. It's the one part that I didn't feel that good about. Now, why am I telling you this? Because you are so amazing, but you might still doubt yourself. And until you allow yourself to receive that feedback, that positive feedback, you might not ever believe in your greatness the same way that everyone else believes in your greatness. So until next time, keep on believing, get that feedback, keep being amazing on purpose, and keep it locked in right here on the Extreme Teachers Video Podcast. And we'll see you next week.